playing killer pubs. I imagine.
Hello everyone. Welcome to, what is this, week 5? Welcome to week 5 of the Entities Arena. We have myself, Arrow, for your hosts for tonight, and we're joined by
Fruit shaped.
Fruit Shaped for our co-host. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite well tonight. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I can't complain. Now you see this, right? We have the two teams with A's in their name playing against each other tonight.
Yes, the two teams with A's, Alter and Asphyxia. And
Alter
I
and
believe,
Asphyxia.
which team is playing Killer first?
I believe
Enter
Asphyxia is playing Killer first.
So
We're almost done the ping test too, so
we'll be seeing very soon enough, once the ping tests are done, we'll be seeing Asphyxia playing their first Killer match, and Alter playing a Survivor match versus them.
yeah.
Do you have any predictions for this match?
So
Or
okay, so the first map is Ironworks of Misery. Asphyxia is killing, then Alter kills. And then the second map is Torment Creek. They both teams have used one of their Cenobites, one of their Onis. I don't know. I think you come out with Oni or Demo.
I feel like those are both strong picks on Ironworks.
But Asphyxia has used one of their demos already, so, and they've also used one of their Onis, so maybe not. Torment Creek is also kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a hit or miss map. I would personally bring Oni to Torment Creek if I was Asphyxia, because that map is terrifying for any other killer.
That's very true.
Yeah, so we're just finishing up the last ping test here, I believe. Last ping test, and then we just go straight into the game.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Asphyxia's playing killer first, which means that they also play killer last. Maybe, I don't know, because if you play killer last on Torment Creek, and like, Oni is good on both maps, do you want to use your last Oni and your last demo in one round?
That would be certainly a risky move this early in the circuit.
I mean, what we're more than halfway through, aren't we? Oh my god. How many
That's also true.
how many weeks are left? There's only 2 weeks after this? That can't be right. There's
I
no
feel like
way.
there has to be at least 3. Right?
We're on week 4. Somebody told me we're on week 5. We're on week 4. Oh my goodness. It's been a long night.
But I will say, going into this game, Asphyxia playing killer first. Playing killer before you've known how good your survivors are going to do in the corresponding survivor match is a very stressful thing, as it can be very hard to tell exactly how risky or greedy you want to play, whether you want to go for play it safe, getting, a 7-stage 2K, or if you want to play it more risky and go for a 3K or even a 4K.
Yeah, trying to figure that out.
In these sets where you're playing killer first and last as Asphyxia, if I'm the killer here, I would be thinking that I would want to do something very consistent that just sets a good standard with like a 7-stage 2K entering into the first killer game, and then see how your survivor matches go on matches 2 and 3, and then try and close it out with a good killer match for exactly what you need on the final killer match. Versus, for instance, Team Alter here that gets to play survivor first. Whoever they have on killer, they can play to whatever the tone set by that first survivor match is. Whether that means that they have to play very greedy and aggressively, or whether they can just play it safe and stay in the lead to prevent the other team from closing it out in that 4th match, as I said that they would, be trying to do as they're playing killer first and 4th.
Yeah, I definitely think, if you're Alter, like, even though, like, Alter, they lost the first week by default, because I don't think that they were in the league during the first week, but then they lost 2 games in a row, so right now they're 0-3. So, like, I feel like Alter's in a really good position, knowing that you have the little bit of a safer pick with playing killer 2nd and 3rd. As we've seen, most of the teams confirm the win by the 3rd game, so the 4th game just does not matter. Asphyxia had a rough first 2 weeks, came back last week, and I think that they won with, I think it was close to 100 points. It might have been just slightly over 100 points. Which is...
That's a very impressive scoring.
Yeah. So, it is really anybody's chance to take the win here.
Anybody's chance to take the win, and the thing that you should always note when you're looking back at these scorings of how teams have been performing recently is that you tend to learn a lot more from losing games as a team than you do from winning them. I can't really think of a match that I've ever won of any game that's really taught me a lot about it, but I can think of a lot of matches I've lost that have taught me a lot. And when you lose a few matches in a row, it really does open up the opportunities to really up your team's gameplay. And we might see that here on either side.
Yeah, I feel like the games that are incredibly close are also really good learning points for teams, because like, if it is neck and neck, not only can you analyze what you as an individual did wrong, what your team could have improved on, but also you could see like, hey, what mistakes did the other team make so I don't have to make them either, you know? Like, because, you know, nobody can play every game perfectly. You know, it helps to try and figure out like, hey, what are some common mistakes that our opponents made that maybe we didn't capitalize on, and how do I look for those in the future? You know, trying to figure out just everybody's mistakes and learning from all of them, not just your own. Learn from other people's. Learn from, you know, everything that you can do, because every single game in here is a learning experience.
I completely agree.
I've got good news as well. We are loading into our first game.
Loading into our first game.
I believe Godly is the killer for the first game. We are headed to Ironworks of Misery. Godly is known for playing M1 killers.
Well, I think certain M1 killers can be pretty good on Ironworks of Misery. It's a very risky map to play an M1 killer on, though, due to the fact that you can basically perfectly waste distance away with running through the stairs up through the main building. It's a very hard thing to deal with for M1s and a lot of other killers, especially.
Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of killers who are very experienced tend to avoid main buildings the majority of the time. Like, if the survivor starts chasing there, they just drop and they try and push for a survivor that's in a more disadvantageous position, and try to corral them to the side of the map that you know is a dead zone. Like by Shack, there's some filler pallets there sometimes. There's not always a filler between the logs and Shack, so that can be one of the spots where you want to push survivors. Or alternatively, next to main building, there's a dead zone on either side. Usually 9 times out of 10, but we are loading into the game here,
and we'll be loading into the map with a
my
Huntress
goodness.
take on Trust in Godly. A very exciting thing to me, as I don't know if the viewers know this, but me and Irodori are both Huntress mains, so this will be a very fun game to commentate.
Yes, I think that we are both so incredibly excited about this, and not only that, but this is the new Huntress skin, because we can hear it in the lullaby. It does seem like she spotted somebody in main building already, running upstairs. Deciding to break that door. I do think that
this is a split corrupt as well. That's very unlucky for a Huntress.
Yeah, this can be this could be 1 or 2 gens just getting popped here, like towards the start of the game.
Especially with the center map spawn, it's very likely that the survivors spawn 2 and 2, and that means it's going to be very hard to capitalize on their early game positioning as a Huntress player as you move on the map very slowly.
Yeah, she is deciding to run upstairs. Oh, sorry, no, she's not running upstairs. Was she running upstairs, or was that just some weird scratch marks? I can't really tell, but they are trying to push somebody off this gen, which is already 50%. If there's somebody on the gen by Shack, like, that could be almost done by now. That could be really rough. Corrupt is almost over. It has 30 seconds left.
Corrupt is almost over, and we have not seen a hatchet throw.
We haven't seen a hatchet thrown. We know that there's no brutal. This could be... We've only seen 3 survivors, so we don't know where the 4th one is. Hopefully, for our survivor players, they're on that gen by Shack, trying to get that out of the way. It does seem like Nia here is going to be the first person actually taking Chase.
Picking up Chase with Nia at a filler pallet. This is a hard filler pallet to deal with.
Ooh, that's a nice hit. I think this is down. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a very unlucky play by Nia.
Yeah, and that's
especially
a really
with that
fast
brutal
down.
Strength up. That's a very good pallet to just pre-drop and run away.
That's I feel like that's a really good spot for. Oh, well, there's Deadlock.
This is a good spot to be in, especially with the hill next to that hook. You can potentially stand up on this hill and then protect the gen at mid, the hill gen, and the hook at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's certainly a very greedy move, I think, to walk over here as a huntress.
There's a lot of gens on this side of the map. I think that she can get a really fast tunnel here if oh, see, and that's one of the examples of why that tile is so difficult to huntress.
That's a borrowed time and a stun. I don't think you can tunnel this anymore. That's too much distance. That's far too much distance. With the main building waste,
she ran upstairs.
110, you absolutely have to drop the tunnel with that misplay.
She's mending. She's just mending on the stairs. She might have decisive too. She might actually want to take the chase.
Okay. A bit of a perhaps slow reaction from the Nia, but she has the vault here, so she should be fine.
Is that balanced? That's not balanced.
That's no balance. This should be a down unless the Huntress makes a severe misplay.
Oh
no, but that's going to be a DS play.
That's definitely decisive.
One hook on the board, 2 gens down, probably another about to pop, and DS getting used.
And already ate the decisive strike.
This is a very dicey situation for a Huntress. Even with, as we have seen, she does have Deadlock, which will buy her a lot of time in this very challenging tunnel. Choosing to drop the tunnel after eating the DS in favor of going for the ace.
The ace probably has Deli. I think that Godly is probably thinking about that going into this chase because he was the first person to get the unhook. But there's also a chance that it was on the Nia because she did have decisive. It's
That's
one or the other.
Or is it?
I don't know if it was balanced landing, but it definitely looks. I don't know.
It certainly looked a little fast, but it's hard to say with the instant hatchet hit.
Yeah.
And we're going to be getting a refill here.
And there's a reset on the Nia. I believe Ace was it Ace with the one with the medkit, or was that the Nia? Oh my goodness, that gen is like 99. This map is so difficult for Huntress, as you can see with this. Just every single time when I sit here and I watch people play on this map, as killer, you know, this is very difficult.
It's a very challenging, large map. Not at all a simple map to play.
Utilizing the main building is so incredibly smart here. I really like how Alter is playing this.
They're playing it very smart, utilizing the main building, especially against the 110 killer. We talked about how M1s can be risky with this main building, it being very hard to deal with as a basic M1, but it's also very hard to deal with as a Huntress as your 110. If the survivor only has a bit of distance on you, you can pull up a hatchet, you can shut them down from being able to walk through those catwalks as you have a good LOS to shoot at them. But if they have a bit of distance on you, as you can see here, the Huntress has had to run all the way through this entire walk like 2 times before she can even pull up her hatchet.
Oh,
and
if that was
she does get it down right after,
if that was alive, I don't think she would have hit it. There was a chance, but we still haven't actually seen who has which exhaustion perk yet. Oh my goodness, these gens are flying. Alter is playing this so smart.
Deadlock.
I believe that they broke up every single 3-gen, just like as soon as they could at the start of the game. Oh my goodness! And now they've
with that gen popping, they no longer have to attack this 3-gen. They can just do the gen that is towards the shack side of the map, and just have one person lurk for the save in case the Huntress decides to leave while they double the shack side gen.
Yeah,
I believe that's the optimal play, and I believe that's exactly what they're doing with Meg sitting on the hook, Kate lurking for the save, and I would assume Nia and Ace doubling the shack side gen. Or, no, we're seeing a two-person unhook right here.
Are they gonna get it in time?
It's a very risky play to make.
They do! They do, in fact, get it before the second stage.
They do get it in
but
time, but this is a very dicey situation to be in with 2 people on hook.
That's a 2-for-1. That is...
We didn't comment on the add-ons at the start, but this Huntress is running the... what I think we can all say is the meta Huntress add-ons of Babushka and Okaf.
Yeah.
Very risky to save against, and if you're doing
the way that she is lifting them up so fast and being able to get those hits immediately after, there's no doubt this is those 2 add-ons.
Certainly.
I don't know if I would have hooked the I don't know if I would have hooked the survivor there, if I was going to be honest with you. Having 2 survivors just down right next to each other, I would have just camped that hook. But maybe she saw something that we didn't. Maybe she saw an opening?
Well, I think the pro of hooking one person, when you have someone slug next to a hook, and then you have another hook next to it, is especially if you just put the person on the hook and you already have a slug, that person on the hook has 60 seconds left. If you hook another person, you force one of them to be insta-unhooked while you're carrying to the second hook. Otherwise, you have 2 hooks right next to each other that you can defend, which is a basically unplayable situation for Survivor. It forces an instant unhook, which lets you tunnel someone very, very quickly, as they don't waste any time sitting on the hook for a minute. And as the DS has already been used in this game, I think that's a strategy that the Huntress might have been trying to employ. And
we do see the resets starting to happen. I don't think that they're working on the last gen. They're trying to push this gen at the hill, which I don't know if that's the play. They've had a lot of time to work on the gen closer to Shack, and maybe they're trying to go for another unhook.
Looks like we're seeing
oh no.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
But good news for our killer, we do see Noed, and that was actually Noed right at the hook. Noed spawned right at the hook, and there's no way out getting procced. Oh my goodness, this is...
I believe that'll be a 4-stack no way out, so that'll be a 60-second block on the gates, and this Kate will be on second stage of the hook.
And she's kind of between both of the exit gates. Are the survivors going to elect to try and cleanse Noed? Because they do know where it is. They did see it, I believe. Because there were 3 people there when Noed was when the last gen was finished. They might not have noticed, but there were 3 people there.
It looks like our killer is just going to camp out this kill, and then perhaps try to find the second kill before they can finish doing the gates.
Yeah.
Which, with no way out running out just now, I don't know that if she'll be able to make it to that gate in time at the far end of the map if they're on it immediately. It looks like she's realized that she might not be able to make it there, and she's heading over a bit early.
But
no one's on the gate.
She does have 4 hatchets left. So
4 hatchets left.
I think she could have just sat at the hook, because that time that she spent allowed... Oh, there's only 1 person. Where's the second person? There's another person supposed to be here, no? Oh, the other person's at the other exit gate, because they split up. I believe that Nia's at the other exit gate, and they split up trying to buy enough time for the other person. If there is the 2-person escape, that was back and forth constantly.
It was a very back and forth game, a very intense first match. Certainly the Huntress had a very hard early game, but made a very good comeback in the late game with some good plays around camping the hooks and countering the 2-person unhooks using the power of Huntress's add-ons.
Yeah, that is that is interesting. All right, so I do actually have I do have the current score if you are ready to see it.
I would
Asphyxia,
be.
18 points. Alter, 14 points. I think
So that
was
would be
a
a 4-point
really
lead for
good.
Asphyxia?
Yeah, that was a really good score, honestly, for Killer.
That is a very, very good way to start your set as you're playing Killer first. It's a very good scoring for a Huntress on Ironworks, which is a very hard map for Huntress, or it can be. And altogether, I think Asphyxia should be very happy with how they're going into this first Survivor match for them.
Yeah, this could be a really good omen for Asphyxia. However, Alter does get to play Killer twice in a row. Now, if they did want to confirm a win before Game 4, I do think they would need to get 2 4Ks, which could be... That could be a big task, especially when they've already used Blight and Nurse.
That's true. Spirit still on the board, though.
Spirit is still on the board. I don't think Spirit's very good on either Ironworks or Torment Creek, though. Both of the maps are really large. They do have access to almost every other killer, so I don't know. This could be... This is still anybody's game. Like, it is so
only
incredibly exciting.
Only a 4-point difference. We have 3 more matches, and it's very unlikely that this game will come down to a 4-point difference. It is, so it's really up to how these next 3 games go that's going to decide the set.
Yeah, this is... I'm excited. I'm really happy for Asphyxia to be able to get their... to get a really good first game as Killer, because all of these maps are really rough for Killer. But I'm also really excited to see what Alter's Killer is going to be bringing in here, what Glowies is going to be bringing to the table. Just because we do know that, you know, we've seen Alter's Killers do moderately well. Even on maps that are bad for Killer, we know Asphyxia has had really good Survivor games, especially last week, pulling in, I think it was about 100 points, which is one of the highest scores that has been in Entities Arena up to this point. One of the highest. I think it's the second highest. Which is... It's... This can really make or break the round, I think. This game in particular.
This game in particular will have a lot to do with how this round goes, especially the killer that they pick on this map, as it is a very hit or miss map with different killers. And if you make the wrong pick here, you can suffer very hardly.
So, if you're Alter, you're Glowies, right?
Yes.
We've already discussed this earlier, with wanting a killer that's either Demogorgon or Oni for this map. But what if... Because they've already used one of their Onis. Maybe they're saving Oni for Torment Creek. We aren't sure. But... What killer would you bring? On this map specifically?
Well, for Ironworks of Misery, I feel like the killers that you want are ones that can... First, it's a large map, so you especially want killers that have more mobility than normal. Blights, Onis, Billies, to varying degrees, have their bonuses on this map, as it's a very large open map, and if you have mobility, you can very well utilize it. A second thing is you want someone who can ignore the main building. You want someone who doesn't have to just walk around in a circle multiple times, as we saw the Huntress have to do, as that's a really big time waste. And if you're walking around that thing 2 times, that's what, 30, 40 seconds wasted, 3 survivors on gens. That is not something you can do and get away with it.
Yeah, that's 3 gens getting 50% progress. That could be a really big deal.
I think that if you can, you bring Oni to this map. He's someone who doesn't care about the main building once he's in power. He utilizes the fact that it's open very well because Oni is very, very good at punishing people for running in the open when you see them at a long distance away, as he can be anywhere on the map in a moment with his power. I think my number 1 pick is Oni, if I were to pick for this map.
I do think Oni is probably the safest pick. If I was Alter though, I would save my Oni for the Torment Creek game, just in case. Because they only have access to 1 more S tier killer. The only other killer I would understand them bringing to Torment Creek, that I would expect them to bring to Torment Creek, it'd probably be Hillbilly. And I don't really think that you can bring... I don't think you want to use both Hillbilly and Oni tonight, because Hillbilly's kind of a risky pick. Oni, also a little bit risky, but can spiral, unlike Hillbilly, in such a way that, you know, you can get multiple downs within a minute, and there's almost nothing survivors can do about it. And...
It's very true. I would be very wary taking a Hillbilly pick here. I think the only reason you take a Hillbilly pick on a map that isn't like Shelter Woods or something where you have to pick it like a Gas Haven is if you have someone who's a Billy main. If you have someone who's very confident on Billy and you can play every move perfectly. Because I think if you play every move perfectly on the right map with Billy, you can do decently at least. But if you're a bit rusty on Billy, if you're not the most confident or experienced, or if you have a bad map, or even just a decent map, you can suffer very, very badly on Billy.
So, I don't actually... Now that I'm looking at the rest of the maps that Alter has to play this season, those being Gas Heaven, Shelter Woods, and Azurov's Resting Place, I don't think that they want to bring Billy to Torment Creek or Ironworks of Misery, now that I think about it. I think Shelter Woods and Gas Heaven are probably the better of the maps that are listed for Hillbilly. But again, you could bring Oni on those maps too and do just as well. But they only have 1 Oni left. This is a really rough position to be in, I think. This is where the meta gameplay begins, and we begin to see your killer picks at the start of the season start affecting your killer picks at the end of the season. You know, seeing Oni get used, and a lot of teams have been using Oni. I think almost every team has used Oni at this point.
I believe at least in the survival division, 6 of the 8 teams have used 1 of their Onis. No one has used both yet, and 2 teams still have both Onis on the board, which I think is a good long-term decision considering the map Shelter Woods and Gas Haven will be coming up.
Yeah, this is the really... I don't know, it is a really tough one.
And we're loading into the map. We see a pig pick. And if I am not mistaken, this pig is running the Iridescent add-on, the new Iridescent add-on.
That does look like the new Iridescent add-on. The videotape.
All these survivors with the traps on their head. I think it's a very risky move. Certainly, I believe we saw another pig run this in Entities Arena just the other day, and it did not pan out for them. So I'm wondering how it will pan out this time.
If I remember correctly, I think it was... No, it wasn't Alter. It wasn't Alter. I think it was Ice that brought this. think it wasn't yesterday, but it was recently.
Getting an early hit and then getting a few unlucky sets of mind games there and having to potentially drop the chase. But choosing not to here, it looks like, trying to continue the chase.
I don't think this is the same survivor. I don't see any blood on the ground. Oh, it is the same survivor.
No, it is,
okay.
it is. Chasing at a long wall jungle gym at the start of the game as a basic M1, very risky move.
That is
and
a very fast down.
Claudette.
Unfortunately for the pig, though, that is 2 head traps taken off during the first chase.
It's true, but that's 2 people who are not working on gems.
Wait a second.
That's
Wait a second. Do you notice anything weird? Do you notice anything weird? I think this is the first time we've seen in Entities Arena a killer decide not to use corrupt intervention.
Wow. I hadn't even noticed with it being a pig thing.
That was such a delayed hit. It was insane.
I think that if you're going to run the iridescent pig add-on, it's a very smart choice to not run corrupt, as I feel like it's kind of
counterintuitive.
Doing too many things that do the same thing.
At the start of the game, absolutely. That's
a running
really
corrupt
fast second down as well.
Very fast downs here. That's 2 downs before a single gen has been finished.
And there's still 2 head traps on.
They had to take 2 head traps off, potentially before even 1 gen has been started.
Oh, and we just heard somebody fail a box check there.
First gen being done. Claudette and Kate's hats will be now activated.
And Claudette and Adam here. Adam taking the body block. Oh no! The sandbag from Claudette, not noticing that Adam was there for the body block.
Ooh, a smart mind game. Faking the pounce to make Claudette leave the tile will probably secure it down here.
Oh no!
Oh, but
she went to wait out the dead hard and swung.
Now, last time we saw Claudette play this tile, she greeted the pallet a bit, using the window too much, and ended up taking a hit for it. So let's see how she plays it this time. She chooses to hold W to the other pallet.
Yeah.
I think this is a strong play.
She
doesn't drop it there. With Bloodlust 2 up, I don't think you can greed that pallet, Claudette. I think you had to just drop that there.
It's a very rough pallet to greed. It's a very unsafe pallet.
That's true.
A survivor wasn't here recently, and I thought I saw a blood trail as well. So that would hint that the Kate is probably trying to get her head trap off over here by the hill. If I was the pig, I would... Ooh. Okay. I don't know what she's
And it looks
planning.
like the Kate has just missed a skill check trying to remove her trap on the box right over by the corner over here. So potentially...
She did remove it.
She did remove it.
I think that she should have gone to the box when the skill check was missed to try and get the head trap kill.
I absolutely agree. I think you can just crouch over to that, potentially just crouch in front of the box, and maybe just force a kill via that. I do feel like it's the safer play to try and just straight camp the kill here. That being said, she lets them get the unhook with VT, and she is not tunneling us. So, potentially, she's just looking to waste a lot of the Claudette's time with making her mend through that borrowed time, and then run away.
Because she has to choose between mending and trying to remove the head trap. That's actually not a bad idea, I guess. That does mean that you have a survivor doing nothing for probably close to like a minute, and she's only checked one of the boxes that we know of. At least. It looks like brutal strength. That was a very fast kick.
It looks like she's going to be coming back here to try and interrupt the search on the box.
Oh no.
But she's just a little bit too slow. That's unlucky.
But the box, that wasn't the correct box,
That was not the correct box. Claudette has not taken her head trap off yet, so there's still an opportunity to force a head trap kill in this game.
Oh no!
Oh, no. A very
She had
unlucky
the hits,
play
and
there.
then unfortunately did not commit to the lunge, and instead just did a short swing. Claudette does get the head trap off.
Has gotten her head trap off. Now, I think if I'm this pig right now, you have to look at what you have on the board. You have 2 gens left. You have no slowdown. You're playing with Brutal Strength.
Brutal Strength and Ruin, and Ruin has already been cleansed.
And 2 mystery perks. You have no add-ons that are going to help you anymore. You're basic on 1. I think you have to look at what you have in this game, and I think you have to tunnel out the Claudette. You don't have anyone else who's dead on hook.
Maybe. I do understand what she's going for here. She's probably going for an in-game play by getting a hook on a fresh survivor. And is going to try and probably camp them. And if she is lucky, she might have her gates near here. Was this the injured survivor? It was not.
And that's unlucky. This is the cave. Deciding to take an M1 and go back to the hook.
I don't know what she's planning. I wish I did.
I'm not really sure either right now. I feel like the stronger play was to keep chasing the cave and try and force the Claudette out of hiding so that you can get the kill on her and make it a 3v1 in the endgame. Since as we're at 1 gen left and she has 2 unidentified perks, it's more than likely an endgame build.
Yeah, she's gonna be trying to get a really good score here in the endgame, and I think if she forces this to second state, oh no, committing to this could give an opening for the survivors. But it doesn't look like it because she does hit second state. Is she gonna camp this to death? It does look like it. And there's the Hex. No one escapes death on the side of the screen.
I feel like you want to camp this to death now.
And there's no way out.
The no way out be activated. We know the last 2 perks are no out and no way out. With the amount of time left, you can just stand in front of this hook. You have the no ad right there. You can just force this kill.
Doors.
And then you can just try and go and find another down. Hopefully a fresh down with no ad. And make it a 2k with a very good number of hook stages.
Every second counts, and there is still time on the no way out. She did have 3 stacks of it. I think that Godly will be forced into the death hook state the same time that no way out is up. Survivors did identify the no-ed here, but this is Claudette. She's on death hook.
This is Claudette also on death hook. She's gonna go down to the no-ed here. Whenever she goes down and gets hooked here, if these survivors are not very fast on the gates to get the other 2 out, this could end up being a very bad endgame result for the survivors. If this is a 3k, this is a extremely good result from the killer here.
I think getting 2 kills, 7 hook states as Pig is a very big feat, especially on such a large map. Pig usually not considered one of the better of the killers on the roster. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, a small body block. And
is this gonna be a heal tech? Is this gonna be a successful heal tech? Oh my goodness. Does it work? Is it enough? It's enough! Oh my goodness. That was down to the wire.
I believe that our killer made the wrong play there. I think if you, in very close heal techs like that, if you wait for the survivor to get picked up and then hit them at the right time, it forces them to move further from the gate. I think if she did that, then she could have gotten the 4K. I also think she could have swung a bit earlier, though. But there was a very close match either way, and it's a very back and forth set. 7 stages is an extremely good result for a Pig on this map.
Alter did actually make up some of the points that they were behind from the first game. They actually won that game with 1 point more than Survivors, bringing this total scores to Asphyxia with 33 points and Alter to 30 points.
Only a 3-point difference. Still neck and neck.
This is one of those games that we were talking about earlier, where these games that are so incredibly close can be some of the best that you can learn from.
Absolutely.
Like, we are seeing a whole bunch of really good plays from both sides, and I bet you, going into the second half of this, they're not gonna... The mistakes that they might have made in the first half, they're not gonna make them again. They will have identified, hey, what did we do that we could have done a little bit better? You know, maybe it's the speed at which they got gens done, or maybe it was the time which they spent trying to pressure the unhooks. I don't know, but they can learn from all of this. This is one of the games that I live to watch. I love these so much.
It's an extremely action-packed match.
So, going into Torment Creek.
We'll be going into Torment Creek.
Yeah.
Our second killer match for Alter's Killer.
What do you think? What do you think about Torment Creek in general? Let's not discuss like what killer we bring. What do you think? What is your opinion of Torment Creek?
Well, I don't like it because it's a corn map and it hurts my eyes on the base level. And the tiles, I think, are... Well, they're quite annoying to play as killer. I think it's generally... In terms of at least how you play the tiles, it's pretty survivor-sided. However, Torment Creek specifically is probably one of the most killer-sided of the Cold Wind maps, as you have very good visibility. The main building is, while problematic for killer, not the most problematic, as much as, like, the main building on Rancid can be.
Yeah,
Altogether, I think you have a lot that you can try to play around as killer on this map. And I think it's a bit harder to play as Survivor, even if it is probably a Survivor-sided map due to the way that the tiles function.
Yeah, I definitely think this is probably one of the more... How would you say... one of the more approachable maps for competitive gameplay. But I don't like this map, if I'm going to be honest with you. Not only do I despise corn maps, I think that they're... I don't know. They're not my cup of tea, okay? I'll put it that way.
Not mine either.
I do love the idea behind them, but I don't think it works in competitive, you know?
Yes.
Not only is the corn probably a bit of a hindrance, not only to the people playing, but it also can make things a little bit difficult for viewers, especially when we have sub-killers who are playing on stretched resolution, looking more at the ground than what other people would consider normal. So seeing a lot more corn and a lot less survivor could be kind of rough. But I'll tell you the thing that I dislike the most about these maps. They tend to be survivor-sided without very much for killer to work with. Like, even Rotten Fields, which is probably, I want to say, the smallest of the corn maps. Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm pretty sure it's roughly the smallest of the corn maps. And
I thought it was the largest. It might just be the... It might just be the spread, though. Maybe, I don't know, Thompson House might be the biggest now.
Yeah, let me... You know what, now I'm actually really interested in this. Map sizes. Here we go. The smallest of these is actually Rancid Abattoir. Rancid Abattoir is actually only slightly bigger than Cold Tower. It's the same size as Dead Dog.
It is a very small map.
Which feels wrong. It feels wrong. I don't know. But then we have Torment Creek being the 4th largest map, not including Raccoon City.
Really? Torment Creek being the 4th largest? I would
It's
never
the same
have
size as
expected
Lampkin
that.
Lane. And Blood Lodge.
That is absurd. Torment Creek does not feel that large to me.
It is.
It probably is, though, because admittedly, a lot of the edge areas of that map are not very playable due to the organization of the corn.
It's just shy of 11,000 square meters.
That's absolutely massive.
It's huge. But like, if we look at Mother's Dwelling, Mother's Dwelling is 12,000 square meters. And then Shelter, Woods, and ARP, Azurov's Resting Place, are the second, with 11,250. Do people say that? Is that how people say that? Oh my goodness. Comparing these feels so weird. I could have sworn Shelter Woods was so much smaller. I thought it was more around the size of Pale Rose. I was really off about that. Ironworks is smaller than Torment Creek. Oh my goodness.
You know, I'm learning all sorts of new things today.
I think we all are. But Thompson House is actually the second smallest. The second smallest of the corn maps.
The one time I opened my mouth.
I know, right? I feel
yeah.
I feel lied to. Are they sure about these numbers? That can't be right.
I think the numbers are accurate.
Thompson House is only 500 square meters larger than Wrecker's Yard. To put that into perspective, other things that are larger than Thompson House are all the Yamaoka maps, all of the Red Forest maps, almost all of the Macmillan, almost all of the Wrecker's Yard, and the other Coldwind maps. Why is it so small? All of Badham is smaller than Thompson House.
You know, I don't even know. Admittedly, the Badham maps do feel a lot bigger just because they have very bad sight lines due to the way of the main buildings. And
That's true.
Really all the buildings are organized in those maps. As generally, in most of the Badham variations, they're situated in such a way that most of the main buildings block your line of sight of most of the maps. You can only ever really see 1/3 of the map when you're playing Badham, unless you're on, like, I think it's Badham 3 that has the most stuff towards the corners and then a big empty area in the middle.
Yeah, it's
and
one
then
of those.
Even when you do see that, you'll notice that it's not that big of an area. It just has a lot stuffed in it.
So, we see Odd Nico Bolas here playing Killer. Now, we've seen him play Killer before on Dead Dog. I believe that he played Pinhead on Dead Dog Saloon. Or was it Plague? It was one or the other. I'm hoping there's gonna be something insane here that we just did not expect. You know? Like, I always love seeing, like, these, like, weird, wacky picks.
I would absolutely love to see a wacky pick.
We need to see more of these wacky racers. That's a reference to a show that most people who play Dead by Daylight probably don't probably never even heard of. And you know what?
And we're going to see a Pinhead pick.
We're gonna see the second use of Pinhead from Alter here. Now,
and
it's important to know.
If I'm looking correctly here, I'm seeing that this will be another game where they have chosen not to run Corrupt Intervention.
That's very interesting. It's important to note, though, that
Yes?
Pinhead's only allowed green and lower add-ons in Entities Arena. Oh, that's a really good use of the chains here. We'll be able to get the injure before any distance is made.
Getting the first hit very cleanly.
Oh, is this an interrupt?
Choosing to interrupt the cube.
They do get the interrupt. This could be big if they get the down. Because they are committing to the chase.
Potentially activating the chain hunts whenever the chase is over. Notedly, the box is only 2/3 progressed right now during this chase, so Kate will not be getting harassed with any extra chains unless she manages to survive for a long time. And I believe that's going to be a lucky break.
That is lucky break to get out of chase. Oh, except starts to cleanse the box again. Sorry, to solve the lament configuration. This is a lot of injures being passed around. And we can hear Ruin is slowly regressing the generator right next to us. This should be a down on the Atom. But the first generator pops right next to Shaq, right next to Chase. Decides to pick up here. Basement hook. Basement hook.
Basement hook. That being said, the gen right next to it was done. So this will not be as strong as it could be, as I don't believe there will be an easy 3 gen around it as there would have been if that hill gen had not been popped.
Interesting.
And another gen being popped at main building side. That's going to leave very limited 3 gen opportunities.
This is one of the reasons why it is rough to run in playing killer on this map without corrupt intervention. As we were talking earlier, this is one of the largest maps in the game.
Very true.
This can make it just so difficult. But we do see the power fake come in, allowing for Nico Bolas to get the injure onto the ace. Going to try and force a slow vault here.
And a very nice chain to prevent the vault of the God one, though.
That was so incredibly well timed.
I feel like Ace should have potentially slow vaulted the window before breaking the chains.
I forgot that he had voice lines, and that was absolutely terrifying.
I am glad to see the Pinhead voice lines back, as they do make him a lot more enjoyable to play, at least for me.
They absolutely do. Oh, this could be an injure on the Kate. Oh, she gets the
Ooh, but a very nice slow vault from the Kate.
Oh my goodness.
Extremely heads up play. Into a nice dodge on the chain, choosing to still play this pallet and playing it very well.
Playing
Forcing
it
Pinhead to leave the
perfectly
chase.
versus Pinhead.
Sprint burst on the Nancy, so that won't be an M1.
And trying to force Godly here into the second hook state. This does look like it is going to be a push into the next hook state, which, you know, knowing that 2 survivors were over here wasting time, this is a really good thing for the killer to be seeing. And I do think oh, I saw them. Interesting.
And the killer finding Adam here in a bit of a dead zone with that pallet already used. This is probably going to be an M1.
I do think it's interesting
Nancy,
that
I don't know how I feel about this teleport.
I don't know if I agree with it, but you know, maybe he's thinking, hey, I can get over to the person who was just on hook and try and get a little bit more, you know, a chance to tunnel them. Oh, this might be a down here.
Ooh, potentially a very fast down coming in on Nancy. She will make the pallet. Ooh, but a very smart mind game.
That's 4 gens already done. These games are going by so fast on the generator side.
Must come with me.
What?
Extremely fast.
What is that line? I've never heard him say these things.
I must be going now.
I didn't even know he had some of these lines.
Now, I think it's far enough into the game that we can note a certain perk that hasn't really come in as of yet.
I'm not too incredibly sure about that. I don't know, because
I feel like if any of our viewers or the players here were very observant, they could have seen it.
they might have seen it, but it's very subtle. Well, you know what? Let's leave everybody in chat guessing for a little bit.
All right.
I think trying to get people to see and figure out what that last perk is, or well, what the third perk is. Because I think we've seen two of them, or we have seen the ruin. We saw it got cleansed earlier.
We've seen the ruin. We've seen that it got cleansed.
There's
and
the
that's
last second
the last
deliverance.
Second deliverance, potentially a deliverance DS. However, Adam is the obsession, so that might indicate that it is not a deli
That's
DS.
the last gen, and we do not see Noed on this side of the screen. Are our survivors counting the perks? Do they know if it is Noed or No Way Out? There's the No Way Out proc, just in time. That's not Noed. So they know
very
that.
fast recovery on the M1.
Yep, and I think
You'll recognize that
is
as a save the best for last.
yeah. I think that's gotta be save the best for last.
I believe this is the first time in the match that it has gotten to more than 5-6 since
I think it's the first time it's gotten more than 3 stacks.
There were a lot of very unlucky obsession hits strewn throughout the early and mid game that stifled the gaining of stacks for the save the best for last.
It has been a little bit rough because he keeps getting hits onto the obsession, but I think if I was Nico Bolas right now, I would literally just camp this out because this is a fresh hook. This could be really good, and it's really difficult to body block versus a pinhead.
Extremely difficult, especially body blocking a pinhead would save the best for last. Anyone who receives one M1,
that's
especially
an M1.
against a pinhead, you do not want to be having this small, medium amount of distance, which save the best for last will put you in a situation like this.
He's so good with the chains.
Where he can force a second chain.
I need to talk to this man after the game and ask him for advice for the chains. The survivors are just gonna leave Godly on the hook. And that's a 2 kills. That's 2 kills for our killer here. That is a total of 8 hook states. That is really good, especially because there wasn't a corrupt intervention. I'm shocked.
Especially.
That's amazing. For Alter to come back from the first game at a 4-point deficit to now ahead by 1 point. Asphyxia 47, Alter 48. You know, we're seeing a whole bunch of M1s, and like, it's exciting. Like,
it's some very exciting M1 gameplay, as normally there are a lot of things that can make it very hard for M1s to perform well, but I'm happy to see some gameplay where we can see pigs, pinheads, huntresses have games that aren't, you know, just very boring and stale as they only get a few hooks.
Yeah, you know, seeing all of these M1s perform so well, and I don't know, maybe because there's been a little bit of a trend. How do you feel about noticing the team that has won every game so far has been the killer?
This is true.
So, this could be really good news for Asphyxia going into playing killer next.
Very true. Do we know what the score is now, coming out of that game?
It is. Alter with 48 points and Asphyxia with 47 points. 1 point difference.
Only a 1 point increase for Alter.
Being ahead by 1 point here is amazing.
Asphyxia's killer, 1 point ahead is... It doesn't seem like a lot, but that means that if this killer manages to get a tie in terms of points for the next round, that it will just go to Alter. Meaning this killer is going to have to play somewhat aggressively. They will have to not only just try to tie the game and play it safe, they will have to try and excel within the match and outplay their opponents if they want to come back and get those 1, 2, 3 extra points that will secure their team the victory on this final killer match. Which I think is a very doable position to be in as a killer, even if the map Torment Creek is a very challenging one to have to perform on.
Yeah, I think if Alter has taken note of the way that Asphyxia's killer has been playing at the first game, and if they've been paying attention to the rest of the season, you can get a pretty good idea of how they're going to be playing in the next game that's coming up in only a few minutes. I
completely agree.
I think this could be really good for Alter, knowing how large this map is. As we've said earlier, this is one of the largest maps in the game. Absolutely insane in the brain. Just gotta casually drop some references in here, here and there. You gotta make sure everybody in chat is on their toes, ready for the game. And I need to figure out who is supposed to be joining. Believe it is... Yes, okay. Wonderful. We do have... So, we have Godly playing Killer again.
Playing Killer again?
Playing Killer again. He decided to play Huntress on Ironworks. Not one of the more popular picks, but I don't think any of the killers tonight have been popular picks. Maybe Cenobite. I'm not so sure. I've not actually seen a whole bunch of Torment Creek competitive matches. I believe this is the first or second week that we've had Torment Creek in play due to bugs earlier in the season with the Coldman maps. So, you know, going into this could really be anybody's game. It is neck and neck. Even though it's Alter's home map, you know, have they been able to get enough practice despite the bugs setting them back to not be able to play on this map as much, not have as much practice? You know, which team is going to come out ahead here? It is really anybody's game. It is so close.
It's anybody's game. We've had 3 matches before this for both teams to really analyze each other's play styles and to figure out exactly how they're going to go into this final match. And I'll be very curious as to what killer Godly decides to bring into this final match, as to how they are going to plan to close out this game for their team.
Yeah, this is exciting. I am hoping that both teams just go into this and they give it everything. Because, like, when games are like this, when there's a 1 point difference going into the 4th game, like, I love it. There's just so much hype around that very last game. Whereas most of the teams that we see try to secure the win in the 3rd game, getting to this 4th one is, you know, like, you know that, like, the balancing between these teams is perfect.
Absolutely.
Now, we did see in the first game, Alter survivors being able to finish a lot of the gens really fast. Do you think that they're going to try and break up those 3 gens again really fast? And then, instead of committing to the gen next to the hook, which might have been a little bit more risky, trying to go for those generators a little bit further away that they might be able to secure, even if it does mean that the person on hook does die, but they die for the gen, getting out. Do you think that they're going to try and commit to that kind of playstyle? Or do you think they're just going to go in there with, like, hey, you know, we know what we've practiced, and we've found that, you know, maybe on certain maps, it's better to just commit to the 1 gen while trying to force the unhook? What do you think?
I think this map is larger than Ironworks. And admittedly, due to the fact that it's a corn map and the way the tiles are situated, I think it's much harder for the killer to defend a generator and a hook in a similar situation to the one that we saw in the first match today. And I would think that the strategy that Alter chose to employ of committing to the gen that was near the hook while also trying to force the unhook would work even better on this map than it did Ironworks. So I think that this is definitely, if it comes down to a situation like this, I'd say this is a very good map for them to be in that situation in, whether if they're going to make that play.
Yeah, and it does look like people in chat are agreeing with us that Oni is probably, like, the best pick for this map. As historically speaking, Oni, a killer with a lot of mobility, especially when you're running perks like Brutal Strength, can just chew through the resources of this map and then make good use of his ability to get around, get some downs, and bring it to Pound Town. I wanted to rhyme that. I hope it worked. I need your approval.
I approve.
Thank you. I'm happy that this is working. I'm trying to just make everything up as I go along. But I don't think that is surprising anybody, as we do have 2 survivors ready. Out of the 4. This could be spicy. We could see some more. That's a 3rd one. All right, we are just like inches away from getting ready to load in.
Nope, they unreadied.
They unreadied. Oh no.
They've got to situate themselves. Got to make sure that they're bringing their A game to this last match.
They gotta bring the A game. The A game. I don't have any way of turning this into a rhyme scheme. However, we do have them readying up again. Spicy lobbies we've got going on here. Now, tell me a little bit about your image. Your Nancy in the sky.
My Nancy in the sky image, the Nancy sunset. Well, when I used to play a lot more Survivor pubs. Oh, they're all readying up. But when I used to play a lot more Nancy pubs, I would just play as Nancy, and the killers would never chase me because they couldn't down me. And then I just beamer saved them a bunch. And one time person said that I was like Nancy Jesus in the endgame chat. So I put Nancy in front of a sun and I made it my profile picture because I really like that image. I think that's basically what I strive to be.
That's wonderful. I bet you're pretty excited to see a Nancy running the exact same cosmetic.
I absolutely am. I did not see them running a beamer, sadly, but I think that's amenable. I think I can tolerate there being no beamer.
No beamer, but still love for them. You know, we've already almost loaded into the game. I love the load screens. I love the load times for games when we're on here on Entities Arena. For some reason, the game is nice and usually just loads us in like almost immediately. It's like it knows that like we're doing something here that's kind of important, and it's like, hey, yeah, you can load, because you know how historically speaking, games don't always load very fast.
Dead by Daylight, not a good game for loading screens.
Definitely not in the top X amount of games for loading time or lobby finding time. But the good news is that we don't have to worry about lobby time because this is a custom lobby.
We have loaded in, and it will be a spirit pick.
This is spicy.
Trust in Godly, pulling out the spirit to close out the game with an S tier. I believe that's the plan.
I do think it is.
Corrupt Intervention. We see Corrupt Intervention on the board.
This is the second Corrupt Intervention we've seen all night, which is very exciting to see it again. Now, our survivors are actually going around here. And,
finding first place on Nia at a long wall jungle. Or, sorry, a long wall pallet gem, I say.
Interesting decision of the Nia to run this direction. I am not sure that she makes a pallet in time because of the way that this is situated. This should be an M1 here. There is no filler pallet.
Unlucky that no filler pallet spawn there.
But is buying a lot more time by running around. Running now into the corrupt zone. And that's almost a stun at Shaft. Does buy Nia more time to get away. And it's already been a minute and a half. Do you think a generator's gonna pop soon?
Shack pallet out of the way immediately. Nia just dumping pallets. Looping in the corrupt side of the map as well. I think that we should see a first gen done in the next 20 seconds, I would hope.
Yeah, 20-ish seconds, and we should see a gen just be absolutely demolished. Oh no!
A very good mind game from the spirit, faking going around.
So incredibly close, but an amazing chase for the Nia as Corrupt Intervention literally has just run out. As I was saying that sentence. That is 2 minutes.
I'm still waiting. There it is. I was holding my breath for that gen to pop, because if that gen did not pop, this would not be a very good situation. And we're seeing a deadlock gen. It's going to be deadlock on the mid gen in the road.
It's about 80%, 90% even. Now that they know that that's there, this is going to be interesting, as the killer is on the opposite side of the map as the unhook happens, and deadlock is now over.
Killer phasing back to the hook, potentially going to use the Spirit Strong M1 to try and tunnel out the Nia.
But does not find the Nia in time. Instead, it finds the Fang. That's the gen probably in the middle there, getting completed. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Godly deciding to chase Fang towards the middle of the map. Ooh, interesting.
Fang trying to pull a risky mind game, but the Spirit not quite phasing long enough for the mind game to work out. And I believe Fang will make this pallet.
She does. Oh my goodness. This is really rough here. What was that mind game? That was insane. She ran in a circle trying to pretend to have Dead Heart, I think. I think that's really I think that's an interesting one we haven't seen yet. But I do think one or two more gens are about to pop, as we do know Nia had the medkit, healed herself. Our killer coming over to this gen that's 99. Oh my goodness. Are they going to find anybody?
Another gen 99 here, but not seeming to... Oh, and the kick gets cut off by deadlock. That's very unlucky. Killer looking to be in a very hard situation here, but 2 perks still unidentified. They might have something to pull out still.
The Killer might be an S tier, but both teams brought their A game, and that is another gen getting popped right as Deadlock got... No, sorry, Deadlock wasn't finished. That's another gen over here that's... Oh my goodness. That gen is still 99. They popped the last gen, and there's the Noed.
If I'm correct via the
God.
Deadlock spread on there, the Survivors basically 99 6 generators. And that's a no-ad down.
That's a really good down for the Killer here. But, you know...
And is that going to be? I believe this is going
that's,
to be
that's a basement hook. We've only seen 3 perks from the Killer, so we can only assume that there's gonna be a no way out here. Unless the Survivors are deciding to cleanse Noed and heal. There is no way out
And
getting
we
procced.
see No Way Out finally triggered. No-ad
No-ad.
cleansed.
Oh my goodness. If I was Alter, I would be so close to celebrating, but you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. As of right now, Alter has 58 points to Asphyxia's 55. This is so close. Alter needs to not get another down, because I believe that would be enough for them to tie. Depending on who gets downed.
It looks like the Spirit is just going to camp out this hook at basement.
And secure the kill? Interesting.
If the Spirit secures this kill at basement and the other 3 leave, is that a win for Asphyxia?
I believe that's a win for Alter.
That's what I was thinking, but it doesn't look like, perhaps I've miscounted.
I think this is going to be 6 hook states. It is going to be 6 hook
And
states.
that will be a 6-stage
3
1.
out. Do you want to know what the final score is?
I would like to.
Asphyxia with 60 points and Alter 64 points.
A 4-point difference.
Just like the first game.
Just like the first game. Only swung the other way.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a very good set from both teams. It was very back and forth. A lot of very interesting picks. And a lot of strong plays from both sides.
Yeah, that was so incredibly fun to watch, the back and forth and the constant, these really good plays from every single killer, from every single survivor that played today. These are, these are exciting. I love casting these. I love seeing M1s perform in ways that they wouldn't normally. Seeing Pig getting 7 or 8 hook states. And then, seeing Cenobite also perform incredibly well. Seeing all of these killers, it's just absolutely, on these larger maps, performing so well as killer is very difficult. Survivor teams not giving any feet, though, not giving any space for the killer to breathe and think that it's just a 1 game. However, putting up a really good fight in the process.
Very true.
Now, I do believe we are going to find out here in a second if we're going to be doing an interview with one of the players from Alter.
I would be very curious to that.
Very well played, everybody. Because this game was exciting, and it left nothing more to be desired. This was a very exciting game. You know, we saw everybody playing their absolute hardest. Do you think that the no
Absolutely.
corrupt was a good idea then?
Well, I certainly like it if you're going to run the iridescent pig add-on that starts everyone with the head traps. I think it's if you run corrupt with that add-on, then people just run and take off the traps while corrupt is up, and you don't get any corrupt value. You just waste a perk slot. I think not running corrupt on the
Pinhead?
I believe it was Pinhead in the third game, yes?
Correct.
I think that is a much more interesting decision, and I'm very intrigued to see how it panned out for them, as that Pinhead performed quite well.
Yeah, I think because we didn't discuss what the last perk that the Pinhead was running was, but it was the Forced Penance.
Forced Penance.
Which
yes.
I don't think got any value, did it?
I don't believe it did. I never saw it proc as the Survivor team never tried to take protection nets.
They might have gotten... They might have gotten 1 or 2 activations out of it. But it does look like we do have some people from Altered joining us here in the voice chat. Please introduce yourselves.
Oh, hi. Well, I'm the co-captain of
first.
Alter.
You go first.
I did. I said I'm the co-captain of Alter.
Oh, okay. I'm captain of Team Alter.
Well, welcome to the voice chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Welcome
you. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Would you
thanks.
like to tell us how you feel about the matches that you just had, as you were able to pull out the victory?
I'm so fucking proud of my guys. These guys came together literally last second, got together on my team, and we worked our asses off. We got our asses handed to us week 1. We got our asses handed to us week 2, and we've been working
Well,
so
we didn't even
fucking
play
hard.
week 1. We joined late.
Or,
and we had to
yeah,
get us
our
a
week
law.
2. Everybody else, our week 1. Everyone else is week 2. Doesn't matter. I'm so proud of my guys. They've been grinding nonstop. They've been playing so good, and I wouldn't want anybody else on my team. I love my boys. They're doing amazing.
It was very impressive showing from your Survivor and Killer sides. On those
I think our first game against the Huntress, I think we made a couple mistakes, and I'm glad we came back from it because it could have been really terrible if, it went any other way, but we managed to still get a 2K out, which I think was really big, and it ended up really setting the bar for the next 3 games.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Yeah, the Survivor performance was spectacular. You know, being able to take out, I think there were 2 3-gens on Ironworks and Misery. Getting rid of them, within the first 2 gens that were completed was very exciting.
And then the last game, I think it was really well coordinated by our Survivor team to play around Deadlock and 99 a gen. And we had those 2 last gens pop, run right after the other, and ignoring his Deadlock because it already had Deadlocked 1 gen. And so when we popped this other one, it deadlocked another gen that was barely any progress. So when Deadlock went away, we just popped the other gen right away. So we had the 2 gens at the end just pop right away.
That was really good.
Very nice play around the perk.
I bet...
Oh yeah, we have a lot of experience with the Deadlock perk. We play against it a lot in our scrims, so we play against that one a lot.
I bet
it's
that you're
very popular perk these days.
I bet that you're very happy with how your Nia's chases were, as well as your friend's chases.
Asriel, he's such a good player. We're so happy that he's on our team.
We love having him on the team, man. I love all my players. I'm not gonna solo Asriel. Ray, Brent, Adriel, I love all of you guys. You guys are all fucking amazing. Kaz, everyone else, you guys are all amazing. I love you all.
Yep.
Well, I love to see that team spirit as
we win as a team, we lose as a team.
Yeah, but I love playing with the boys. I'm one of the survivors that usually play, so I was playing that game as well. So I'm one of the main survivors that play. So I think we just have really good synergy. We worked really well this week together.
You can really tell, having a good communication between your team, having good friendships even between your team is a big deal as to how well you can coordinate with each other. And
100%. I don't. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I always tell people I don't have a team. I got a family. All these guys are my family, and I stress that every single practice, every single game. these guys, they are my family. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. You know, when
Be
we
more
can see these kinds of, these kinds of friendships that you make with other people come together in the game itself, it's so incredibly wholesome, and it like I'm happy for the way that it makes the comp scene look because, from an outsider perspective, it might seem, a little bit elitist, but like seeing, such positive reinforcement is is something that I think more people need to see about the comp scene. That the
Absolutely.
majority of people aren't,
Mhm.
they're not elitist. They're normal people who just love their friends and are doing everything to improve with them as a group.
No, man. And I tell my guys every single practice game, they are nothing. They're to be nothing but respectful. I know how toxic that by day it is. I know how toxic the community can be, and I don't tolerate any of that on my team. I don't let any of them do that. And all my guys are just the nicest people you will ever meet, except for maybe Nico. Nico can be a dick. Love you, Nico.
Now, do you have any words that you want to say to the people on Asphyxia, to the viewers of Entities Arena, to each other, to your team?
Asphyxia, you guys played great, man. You guys, that was a fun game. We were ready for it. We came out there hard. We weren't fucking around. I think, a lot of teams are looking at us right now and thinking that we're probably one of the weaker teams in the league.
Yeah.
To that, I would say that you guys should be prepared because we're working hard and we're not going to stop.
We had a
working.
really rough start, so I definitely don't think we should be underestimated.
All right. Well, those are some really good words of both encouragement and a little bit of fighting talk. Trying to stir the pot up a little bit, but not too much.
It's
trying
all
to
love. It's all love. All love.
Yeah,
Nothing
all
but
love, all
positivity
love.
around these friends, bro.
friendly
I hope
competition.
every team wins their
Yeah.
game. I hope every one of you guys wins your games. Even
Yeah.
if you lose, you win. Because
It's what you
logic.
take away from a loss that makes it a win still. You always have to be improving and looking to play better and improve
Absolutely.
because you can't succeed without failure. So,
And we've done plenty
100%.
of
right.
plenty of failing, and I think tonight was our night. They needed
Yeah.
this one.
Mhm.
We needed that win.
Our boys have been working for it, so I'm glad we got the win tonight.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Fruit, do you have any questions you would like to talk to them about? Any words you want to say?
I guess I would wonder if there's any extra input you'd like to add to your killer's choice not to run corrupt intervention either of your games.
So
And if you perhaps think that perk is like overrated, or if you have some.
Well, that
type
was
of
Chloe's
strategy
Akaz's
you'd like
game,
to
so he
say
can
about
tell
it.
you about it.
yeah, I'll
Okay.
go into depth on it. So for as far as Nico not running corrupt, I'll start with Nico. We have a funny joke in our team because ever since we put Nico on the team, he has played nothing but Pinhead, and every single time we just get destroyed by his Pinhead. So now we call anybody that plays Pinhead a follower of what we call Nicoism, which is this religion of Pinhead. And in Nicoism, he doesn't run corrupt. He thinks that the box is his main slowdown. So he goes for perks that are going to benefit him in other areas that Pinhead lacks. As far as me running corrupt on Pig, I figured that I would not run corrupt because if I'm running videotape with the double or with the crated gears, that is enough slowdown in my early game for me to have strong chases. As long as my chases are strong, that corrupt would just be invaluable. So I opted for perks that would help me in end game and chase instead of corrupt.
I think that's a very good decision.
Yeah, I mean, it worked very well. I think I'm very proud of how all our games went tonight.
Well, we are excited to see how the games went, and we are anticipating more of these kinds of games from both Alter and Asphyxia going into the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks? The next 3 weeks. I'm still thinking that we're on week 5. We're actually only on week 4. I don't know. Somewhere I saw week 5. I'm gonna have
I
to
swear
talk to
someone
Cookie
told
about
me
that.
it was week 5.
Yeah, I would have to talk to Cookie about that. Let's leave that for later. um, but we have 3 more weeks of games. Alter is going to be playing against How Did We Get Here, Celestials, and Petroleum in the next 3 weeks. And sorry, Alter. I did say that right. And Asphyxia is going to be playing against Deadheads, Purge, and Entity in the following 3 weeks. You know, these games have been phenomenal to watch. Thank you for putting on a great show.
Nah, man, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
We,
you.
we, we wouldn't be here if you guys wouldn't be sacrificing your time. So,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, if there are any closing words, Fruit, do you have anything to say to the viewers of Entities Arena?
Well, if you came out to watch the SAT side, say thanks for watching the SATs. I know that all the teams have been putting a lot of practice into playing, and I'm sure that they appreciate having people watch their games live, appreciate having people cheer for them, and I certainly appreciate everyone coming to watch the whole event, as a lot of people have put work into putting this whole thing together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Well, thank you very much for everybody for joining us. We will see you all back here sometime in the near future. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow noon time, I believe, is the next game between, I can tell you in a second here. Tomorrow around noon Eastern, it is 12:30 Eastern time. It is going to be Purge versus How Did We Get Here, 12:30, and then followed up by that 3 p.m. Eastern, Ice versus Sigma Grinders, and then almost immediately after that, yet another game at 5 p.m. Eastern, Entity versus Petroleum, followed by the 9 p.m. game, Mirage versus Exile. Unfortunately, the Asphyxia and Remedy game will be not on stream, but every other one is. Come on, stick around for that. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good
have a
games
good
to
night.
everyone.
Yes.
I love you all.
GG's to everybody.
Have a good night.
Y'all have a wonderful night.
You too. I'm gonna be rating here in a second. I'm gonna wait for the ending soon stream slide to appear on the stream. And then I'm gonna hit the rate button. Second I see the stream is ending screen on stream. This will not be in the stream though.